So I'm joined today with Buck Bailey, the Vice President of the U.S. Coast Guard Museum in the town of Barnstable. Thanks for being here with us, Buck.
Thank you for being here.
So what can Cape Codders expect to find when they come here to the U.S. Coast Guard Museum?
They can find a lot of history and information that they probably didn't know about the Coast Guard and its predecessor services, including the U.S. Revenue Cutter Service that was established in 1790, through the U.S. Life Saving Service, the U.S. Lighthouse Service, the U.S. Lightship Service, even the Steamship Regulatory Authority, and all the different agencies that eventually made up the Coast Guard. A lot of our donations come from local Cape Codders. Most of the volunteers have some experience with either being in the Coast Guard or related to activities on the Cape. A lot of the artifacts are related, including this beach cart here, which was the last operational beach cart used in the Coast Guard. Was actually used in a rescue in 1962 off of just south of Provincetown.
Awesome.
We also have, we go all the way from that history all the way up to the modern times, including a display on the two Coast Guard astronauts we have, one of which is a Cape Cod resident.
So what are some of the exhibits within this museum that people can get excited for? Can you describe some of them that are located around this building?
Sure. One of which, like I say, is a rescue cart. This is a complete set of accoutrements and stuff that they would have used to do the beach rescues. Upstairs is in the lighthouse and lightship room are a lot of artifacts from lightships and lighthouses that were present here on the Cape. There's obviously we can't have too many ships in here, boats, but we have a lot of models, including the Coast Guard cutter Campbell, which was built by a former coastie that lives up in Rhode Island, spent 5 years building that 5-foot model. We have a new model of the Cayuga, which was another model builder that's a large model. The aviation section has a lot of airplanes, models up there, aviation throughout the Coast Guard history, which is this year is actually 101 years old since the Coast Guard's been flying. And a lot of uniforms. The Coast Guard changed its uniforms in 1974, so we have a lot of pre-1974 uniforms, in fact, going back to the Revenue Cutter Service as well as the Life Saving Service and World War II and even before that.
So I understand there's been some updates. I hear that you might have a new audio tour.
Yes, we actually purchased it a couple of years ago, but this is the first year we've really gotten around to implementing it. So right now we have about 70 different commentaries throughout the museum. And there's 3 different types too. One type is history, covers the history of the building and the agencies and stuff. The second type is specifics associated with a particular artifact that you would see in the museum. But the third is what we refer to as personal stories or living history. Internally we refer to them as clean sea stories. But basically it's personal experiences that people that have had with the Coast Guard, and gives the listener a real sense of what it was like, you know, to actually be in the Coast Guard and have some of these experiences.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's all totally self-guided. There's little cards throughout the museum that basically tell you what the name of the commentary is, what it's about, what type it is, and how long it is.
That's awesome that people get to hear that. That's really cool.
We've gotten a lot of good reviews on it, so we're excited about it.
If people want to find out more information, where can they go to find out more about the U.S. Coast Guard Museum? Sure.
We have our own website, coastguardheritagemuseum.org, as well as a Facebook page, Coast Guard Heritage Museum on Facebook. And we'd welcome people's comments or questions, and there's a link to an email site, so they can email us, ask questions if they'd like.
And what are your hours?
We're open Tuesdays through Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., opening the 1st of May and staying open through the end of October.
Awesome. Well, today our guest was Buck Bailey, the Vice President of the U.S. Coast Guard Museum. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
For more information, you can visit those websites or give them a call.